They say you aren't in the mountains, but the mountains, they are in you. I've shared countless cups of tea amongst the clouds, me and these gigantic ranges of rock faces. It's not just love. In fact, my genes can be traced back to one of the highest cities in India. Could this bond be the reason for this eternal love? Perhaps, but these ranges have also made me accept that it's not the mountains we conquer, but ourselves. So, can these emotions be as ecstatic for any other terrain as they are for the summits?
Welcome to PowerDrift. My name is Vipul and this is a story of a Pakka Pahadi exploring his ways around the southeastern coast of India for the very first time. I'm sure this is going to be fun.
My journey starts here in Madurai. Located on the banks of river Vaigai, this city has been a major settlement for 2 millennia, making it one of the oldest living cities of the world.
History. What an interesting thing, right? It helps us understand our past and how that might have affected what we have today. Take MG for instance. A brand that started its journey in a garage now sells millions of cars worldwide. And just like that, the Astor, well, it has its own story to tell. Enthusiasts out there will know that MG sells this as a ZS internationally. Now the badge ZS. MG has recently reinvented it, 2016 to be very specific. Previous to this, MG used to manufacture a fun-to-drive family sports car between 2001 and 2005, and that was called the ZS. Now, if you dig a little deeper, you'll realize that ZS that MG used to sell earlier was basically a retuned version of a Rover 45, which was in fact a facelifted Rover 400. Well, now you know.
But does this rich heritage make them better?
Well, Amma's Mess, they seem to have the right answer to this. Thank you. Despite them serving over 500 modern families every single day, they still use traditional ways to hand grind their masalas and spices. As a result, the food is full of flavor and it is full of love. And the choices that they have on offer, I bet most of these dishes won't even be available in your city. Like for instance, this crab omelette that we have here. It's a perfect fusion of ingredients and innovation. And it seems to be working fine for these guys. Evolution. It's taking forward history and legacy. And guess what? MG Motors, they seem to know this very well. I reckon they've stopped being just an automotive brand and started being an automotive and a technology brand. Their cars even come with badging like Internet Inside, just like Intel Inside. They've also recently launched their own metaverse universe, making them the first Indian manufacturer to do so. Now, the benefit of this is that MG cars, they come with features like ADAS, AI, connectivity, and convenience. Features that other manufacturers are promising in their upcoming cars. But MG Motors, they're offering it today.
If the Astor were to be a student, he would be the smartest in his class. Not just because of the tech features that MG has thrown at it, also because it likes to dress in a certain way.
And then you hop into this cabin, and this dual-tone color treatment, it will instantly remind you of more expensive brands like Porsches and Jaguars. In fact, also talking about the cabin, have you met Wilson? Wilson here is going to be my companion for the next couple of days on this road trip. Well, nice to meet you, Wilson.
Now, if you're wondering why Wilson, sit down and grab some popcorn because this is a journey as long as Tom Hanks' adventure with his friend on the deserted island. Wilson, my friend from the future, made life peaceful and purposeful, which made me wonder if the southeastern coast had something similar to offer. Guess what? Surely it did. Auroville, a universal town that houses men and women of all countries alike, offering peace and harmony that rises above race, caste, politics, and nationalities. I reckon auto enthusiasts should propose something similar, except that they'll be worshipping the car gods.
The purpose of Auroville is to realize human unity in the kind of diversity that we have as a race, as a breed on this planet. It is also the first and only internationally endorsed experiment that tries to change this notion that we have about the society and the consciousness around it. Also, no vehicles allowed inside in this township. That's why the MG Astor is parked outside. Lots of walking to do, hence the sweat. But I think it's quite nice and peaceful once you are in here. You can come here as a volunteer, take up the classes, the workshops, and if you do like it, you can also choose to stay here as a citizen.
While Auroville did gather my admiration, I was summoned by Wilson to explore a few of its tricks. My eternal love for cars and roads meant that someone luckier could take up that spot in this peaceful town, while I head out to make some noise.
Whoa, it is freaky, but it is really awesome. I'm supposed to keep my hands here, but just to demonstrate, it's adjusting the steering by itself.
Few clicks and I was able to liven up features like adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist, which meant Wilson was having as much fun driving as I was.
Now, ADAS systems like the ones on the MG Astor, they aren't entirely new, I know. But their application in the real world, especially on a long-distance road trip like this, that is something that I'm just warming up to. Like for instance, the adaptive cruise control, it is helping me further the distance quite confidently. It has locked the position of the Astor with reference to the car in front. And I've also set my maximum top speed. So all that I have to do now is enjoy the scenery while the Astor, it accelerates by itself and brakes by itself, slows down when it senses someone stupid on the road. I can literally pull out my book from the bag and have a read.
These features from the future helped me travel further than I could have. My eyes weren't fatigued, my brain had bandwidth left for more, and thanks to consistent throttle inputs monitored by the adaptive cruise control, the Astor sipped less, which meant lesser fuel stops. All in all, the drive was calming and comfortable. Precisely what you would expect from your SUV. And that this SUV comes with AI, which makes it smarter, intuitive, and communicative, it's just brilliant. It's like having a wingman on board. It's even got me to a city that I've never heard of. Machilipatnam? Oh, you've already guessed what this town is famous for.
The joy of coming to new places. It gives you that sense of liberation and the thrill of adventure. And it gets all the more pleasant if you have a place like this. This, ladies and gentlemen, calls for a celebration. But it's not going to be an ordinary celebration. Let's just term it, for now, a little extreme. Now, if you were to hunt down your dinner every night, it would be a little extreme, right? Lucky for you, you don't have to do it because we have communities of fishermen who are willing to spend at times close to 3 to 4 days in rough sea. And these guys, they're very skilled. In the few days that I spent in this town, I've learned that they do everything by themselves. And by everything, I mean constructing their own boats, rebuilding their engines, and also weaving their own nets. Machilipatnam living up to its name. But the question is, can this Pakka Pahadi learn the trade of the East Coast? Well, there is just one way to find out, which is hopping on a boat with a local fisherman, thank you, and spending some time in the sea.
Surely, it was a disaster. So, I decided to get back at doing what I do best.
Oh, that was a terrible idea. Hey Wilson, I hope your evening was better than mine. Well, thank you for pre-cooling the cabin and hey, sorting out my favorite playlist. And wow, figuring out food as well. This looks yum. Thank you once again, Wilson.
Eventually, our bond grew stronger, which left me wanting more. Wilson saves the day once again by suggesting watching the sunrise together. Little did I know that this was also a smart way for the MG Astor to showcase a few of its highlights.
That's one of the magical sunsets on the East Coast. Doesn't it look beautiful? But I've been recommended by a lot of people, including Rohit from PowerDrift, that Vishakhapatnam has really good locations to witness sunrises. That's where I'm headed. Now, to reach there at the time of sunrise, which is close to 5:15 a.m., I'll have to drive through the night, which isn't a concern for me. You see, I love driving through the night. There is less chaos on the road, everything just gets erased. Look at people sleeping comfortably in their houses while I am having so much fun out here. It's just me, the MG Astor, and the road in front. Tunnel vision, well, almost. And the roads on the East Coast, they are just beautiful. Long sweeping curves, well-banked sections. It almost feels European, just like that Brit dynamic badge on the dashboard of the Astor. Well, onwards to meet the Queen then.
As for the Astor, it's keeping the road ahead well illuminated with these smart headlamps. Leave on the high beams, and you can do that without guilt because they sense oncoming traffic and they dip automatically. No one gets dazzled, everyone drives carefully. Then there's the turbocharged 1.3-litre engine that's grunty, and the twin-clutch gearbox that's snappy, and the fact that you can change the steering feedback to make things more exciting.
This could. No, actually, this is my very last evening with Wilson. Oh, I did have a very good time with you, bro, and I did really enjoy it. I don't want to mess it up. I hope I reach in time for the sunrise. I really hope so. Come on, Astor!
As the night progressed from dusk to dawn, the sky was beginning to lighten up. The sunrise was moments away, at least 40 minutes earlier than what it would have been on the West Coast. As for my drive through the hours of darkness, let's just say I was glad to have Wilson by my side.
I absolutely love midnight runs like these, especially this one in particular. I mean, look at that view, man. It's just so pristine. And I reckon the rays on the east, they emit a slightly different aura as compared to the ones on the west. And from here, I can completely see how the celestial logo on the MG Astor draws inspiration from Mother Nature. As for the Pakka Pahadi in me, I am quite impressed. I wouldn't mind spending a few days, or in fact a few months, on the east coast, especially when it gets quite cold and chilly up north. And talking about the MG Astor, it is quite an impressive machine, not just in terms of the experience that it offers, but also in terms of its value. And isn't that something that we all love as Indians? Here is what you should do, I would suggest. Find ways where you can sort yourself an MG Astor for maybe a week and go explore places that you haven't already. And I'm sure, just like me, you're bound to fall in love. Well, Astor, you've been a great companion, surely. I still have a few hours left with it, so let me go and sort myself some breakfast under that same light, and I'll see you later.